Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Premier League show on Back of the Net. We're an AFC Bournemouth fan channel. However, it doesn't mean we can't talk about the league we're in. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
It was an interesting weekend full of shocks, goals and much, much more. We'll take a brief look at what happened. Villa battered Brighton. Won't talk too much about Bournemouth. Luton got their first win of the season. Elsewhere, look at that, Man Utd dropping points. Newcastle doing what they do. Standard for West Ham. Wolves, hell of a shock. Spurs getting the win over Liverpool. We might talk about that. On Sunday, it was a draw at the City ground between Forest and Brentford. And then on the Monday, is it turning for Chelsea? Their nearest and dearest, they went to Craven Cottage and they got the result there. Interesting days. And of course, we know that tonight it's also Luton Town versus Burnley. That's the rescheduled fixture, isn't it, mate? So, yeah, it would be interesting to see if Luton can carry on their winning run. Luton playing on Saturday, playing on Tuesday night. It's just like being in the EFL again. But this weekend, we noticed 5 things, plus we made some official observations too. And I expect we'll be talking about VAR. Firstly, Unai Emery. My God, did he teach Robert De Zerbi a lesson?
Yeah, that was a mad game. Obviously, the early kickoff. And De Zerbi and Brighton played how you expect them to play. They're very open, which Emery and Villa are similar, but they took their chances, Villa, and Brighton weren't at it. They said that they weren't at it when they played ourselves, and obviously just managed to get the win. They lost in Europe, didn't they, first time round? So maybe a little bit sticky for them at the moment, and juggling Europe a little bit. And maybe sometimes they've got to rotate because of Europe, but maybe sometimes when everything's going so well, you can over-rotate. Yeah. Do wonder if there's a little bit of that, but all the credit's got to go to Emery and Villa, mate. I mean, since he's come in that football club, everyone's completely forgot how they were going down with Gerrard at one point. I mean, he is turning round, top coach, and some of the football they play. And I think Gareth Southgate was in the stadium to see Ollie Watkins bag a hat trick. And I think he said after the game, Watkins, that that's all I can do. When I scored a hat trick, what more can I do? So, yeah, I'm really pleased for Ramsey as well. Come on for Villa, who's had his injury problems and scored. So Villa look really, really good, mate. They really do. And they're starting to. They've almost been forgotten a little bit, but you've got to start going. Actually, they're right in it to be. I mean, they're in the Champions League spot at the moment because it's 5.
They've only lost once in their last. Look at that. I mean, look at the league record. Yeah. That's the league table right now. And I tell you what, they are doing impressive things. And I'm really intrigued to see how their season pans out. I'm sure they'll get through in Europe. Obviously, it was a bit of a shock. Was it Legia Warsaw? Yes. They lost 3-2. And look, they will turn it around. Their home games will be massive. And fair play to Aston Villa. Brighton, wow. Well, we'll see how that pans out. I'm sure it's just a blip. Yeah. Maybe, just maybe. Yeah. Are Luton finally proving people wrong? I'm imagining Rob Edwards was there putting those Garth Crooks comments on the changing room wall, because what he said about Luton Town was disparaging to say the least. But they got the grit between their teeth and they beat Everton on their own turf. Everton didn't look that great, but Rob Edwards, fair play to him for getting his first Premier League points. That was really good.
Yeah, big. And I think, as you said, mate, I think sometimes we've had it in the past. It can work to your favour, that, backs the wall siege mentality of everyone thinks we're done. Big win. And listen, Goodison, as much as Everton, we're not going to go into that too much of how they are at the moment, because, we should focus on Luton and a big win for them. And I think Lockyer, the centre-half, who got their opener, he come out after the game, he had a big shot, and I thought, that's a proper centre-half. And he said to him, we've seen what everyone's saying and what everyone thinks, and we're going to prove people wrong. And they thoroughly deserve the win. And it's interesting, I remember at the start of the season, a lot of people, without looking too deeply into it, and I get it, people going, it's going to be what they're like at Kenilworth, make it a fortress. When you don't actually realise that last season they were better away than they were at home, and they've just got their first win on the road. So, maybe that is something that people are tapping into too much. I think they could get results on the road, don't get me wrong. They know they're going to be in a scrap. Yeah. But they didn't want to, as we know at the moment as Bournemouth fans, they didn't want to go too far without that first win. No. And listen, we're recording this, obviously, as you said, before another game for them, a big game. So if they can go back up with some points there as well, massive for them, mate. But I was pleased for them, as much as we're going to be competing a bit more directly with them. It was against Everton, which hopefully we will be as well. And I don't want them. I think people saying they're going to be the whipping boys. I certainly haven't thought that. I don't think there will be a whipping boys. I think they'll be competitive till the end. And yeah, they showed some real good all them kind of attributes you want from a Luton side. They were hard, they were nasty, they were organised, and big win.
Yeah, they aren't going to be the whipping boys, and that's why that in our Premier League predictions we put them.
Where do we put them? Do we put them bottom?
Yeah. I tell you what, though, Luton fans, this is the reality of the Premier League, because you'll know that various podcasts and Match of the Day, people will still talk about the opposition more and the downfall of them rather than giving you congratulations. This is hopefully making up for it. A little small YouTube channel called Back in the Net talking about Luton Town. Anyway, congratulations, great result. What is going on at Manchester United? What is going on? Palace, good 1-0 win. Hell of a strike, by the way.
Yes, it was.
Hell of a strike, really well taken. But, my God, they are in some trouble. At what point is his job going to be under threat? Or is it? He's not really in the conversation, is he?
No, I think what's interesting is they talk about the ownership so much that it kind of gives them a bit. And I don't think there's a bad coach there, clearly. So maybe, and you've got to remember, since Fergie, how many managers have they gone through? Like, at some point, they've got to kind of go, this is the guy we trust, and we've got to accept there's going to be some blips on the road. But I think they've only won 3 games, right? Yeah. 3 games, Man United. And I could think of 2 straight away. The Wolves game opening day, they shouldn't have won.
Yeah,
Wolves were brilliant, and they should have, that Onana, remember the controversy there. And then Forest, don't get me wrong, they come back. They were 2-0 down.
Yeah.
So they could quite feasibly only have 1 win on the board, which is worrying for them. But, you know, I actually saw their game against Palace, wasn't it? It was on telly in the week, actually, in the Cup. Yeah. And I thought, there's something there. They were brilliant. I thought, actually, Palace weren't great. They made some rotation, but I thought, maybe they're finding something here. And then you go straight to the league at home, and they were useless. So, yeah, real concerns there for United. I don't think they quite know the best way to go about it, how they fit their new players in, how they get Mount into the side, what they do with the wide options. I mean, obviously, what's going on with Anthony and with Sancho, it's worrying for them. And then they're putting so much responsibility on a young striker. Yeah. Coming into the football club. So don't get me wrong, I mean, Man United will be all right and they'll be up and around it, but yeah, it's concerning for them at the moment, definitely, and they need to get out of that rut a little bit. But
however, we're doing what the pundits do. We should give credit to Palace as well. I mean, they did really well under Roy Hodgson. They're doing very well. Is Lerma back, by the way, or is he still?
No, he's still out at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays in the next one or if he goes away with Colombia or not, because that's how he got injured. But yeah, I think Palace. I think the thing with Palace is, apart from obviously Lerman they got from ourselves, but he was a free. He was out of contract with us. They've given him nothing really. I mean, Zaha's left, who was their best player. At least he's still injured. They've not really given him any tools, and he's going about his business. And no one's talking about them being in a relegation dogfight. No. And that deserves credit in itself. I think they really does, and they still makes them so hard to score against. Yeah. So. Yeah, and I certainly don't think Palace will be in amongst it. I think they'll be absolutely fine, and got some good talented players like Eze and bits. So yeah, it was a massive win for them. You still go to Old Trafford and win, it's big. But yeah, worrying times for Manchester United, which I'm not that bothered about.
Spurs fans are still loving Ange Ball instead. However, I mean, there's a caveat to this, and we might touch on it. But look, they got the win against Liverpool. It was always going to be a very tasty game, I thought. One which will really prove whether Ange has got it or not. Even though they did come out 2-1 victors, I don't really still feel as though you can judge it based on what happened. Liverpool, of course, went down to 9 men in the end. One of the sendings off, I think, was probably not right. The straight red for Curtis Jones. That's one that you can debate till the cows come home. And Jota, maybe you can call them 2 silly yellows. However, they did look potent. They did look a threat. It's clear that the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is one of the most vibrant stadiums in the Premier League this season, because their fans are all united for once with a manager who they absolutely love. And they got a helping hand with an own goal in the last minutes of the game to secure a win that keeps them up there with their North London rival. So the question is, who's going to finish higher this season? Arsenal, who are riding high, beat some team called Bournemouth 4-0, don't talk about that. Or Spurs, who seem to be rejuvenated under this man.
I know, it's and they are the only 2 teams in the league unbeaten, I believe, as well, because obviously City's defeat. Yeah, it's going to be weird. I mean, everyone will still always be tipping City, of course, but you feel like it's Tottenham, Arsenal and Liverpool who are trying to be that competitor. And at the moment, you've got to ask the question of are Tottenham in it? Because I think Ange alluded to it. Obviously, we're not going to go into too much detail on the madness of the game yet, because we'll talk about the officials and VAR later. So we'll just kind of touch on the win itself. And listen, you're playing 9 men. It's a weird one because you should win, but also it means you've got to completely change how you're playing. And I don't actually think they played it very well. I thought Liverpool were really good with 9. I thought Liverpool defended brilliantly and Tottenham didn't know what to do. And it was a fluky own goal at the end. But Tottenham, we've all been talking about how their football and their style has been incredible to watch and they've been brilliant. They've not done that in this game because of the 9 men and couldn't be as fluid. They've still won. Yeah. That's a big thing. I mean, Arsenal have had it this season as well, where you think, they weren't quite at their levels, got the win. I remember the game, I think it was Palace, where they were sending off and they still managed to get that 1-0 win. And yeah, you've got to, if you want to be in a title one, City have done it in the past, and Tottenham and Arsenal are showing it at the moment. Yes, you've got to show that you're a bloody good side, but you've also got to show you can win when you're not at your best and find different ways of winning. And at the moment, ironically, being rivals, they're both doing it. And then when they come up against each other, they both cancel each other out. It's really, really interesting. It's going to be intriguing. We've played both of the teams at home, didn't score against either of them, and lost comfortably to both of them. 2-0 to Tottenham, 4-0 to Arsenal. I think Arsenal are slightly ahead because they're along their project a little bit more, and I think they've got more depth. I think what helped Tottenham is they're not in Europe. I think that'll help them. But I think you take a Maddison out, say you take a Song out. I think they're really. Whereas we've seen with Arsenal that you take a few bits out, they can cope a little bit better. But I think both of them will be right in it. I think they'll be right in it. And City have shown, it's what makes it so interesting, that can they be beaten? Well, we've seen they can, and we'll come on to that. But yeah, I think Tottenham, they're a breath of fresh air at the moment, and Ange Postecoglou is. He's hard to dislike at the moment. It's certainly a breath of fresh air for the Premier League to have it so competitive at this early stage, because even last season there were gaps forming. And look, Spurs fans can probably empathise with Liverpool because they know what it's like to go down to 9 men and then concede a last-minute goal. Do you remember that one? Long time ago, wasn't it? Long time ago. Nathan Ake, wasn't it? However, they dealt with it well. 2-1 win, but it wasn't that simple. Stay tuned. Finally, the fifth thing we noticed this week, Wolves have shown it can be done. Manchester City were beaten, and credit to Gary O'Neill. Fair play to you. The ex-Bournemouth manager managed to mastermind a win against City. It's so weird whenever you face City, you wake up in the morning thinking, how many can we keep it to? Can we just keep it to 1-0 win, 2-0 win, which is a success. Wolves went and won the game. We alluded to it on our second look yesterday, and we paid credit to Gary O'Neill for that. It's pragmatic at times, it's purposeful, and I think Wolves fans are in a similar position that we were last season, whereby we have these awful games and we're pathetic and there's no identity, but then he pulls you back in. He pulls you back in with wins like that, and then he pulls you back in again. That was brilliant. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not taking anything away from Wolves. If you're going to get anything against Man City, you need them to have a bit of an off day. And you need certain players to not perform. And that definitely happened. I mean, missing Rodri and De Bruyne is obviously key for them, but they've got quality, don't get me wrong. But Haaland weren't quite at it. They didn't finish their chances. And if you're playing a team like City, you're not going to get many chances, and which Wolves didn't. But if you've got to take them, and they took them, I know one's an own goal, but they were in that position. Neto was a constant threat. Brilliant down that right hand side. He was. Wow. He was. He is. I think we said it. We've said it on a previous show. I've certainly said it that I think a key to stopping Wolves is stopping Neto. I think Neto is a fantastic player. But yeah, what I will say is, as much as you can go, well, Haaland won at it, which is always key. He won at it because Wolves defended brilliantly, and they've got some players we know, obviously with Gary O'Neill, and sometimes can be a bit pragmatic. You've got to have your defenders that will go to war for you, and I'll tell you what, Kilman, I think it was Totti and Dawson in particular. That clearance where Haaland was destined to score and he just got his toe on it. He was brilliant, and they defended magnificently. And I think, to be fair to them, they got themselves in the lead and they went, we are hanging on to this, and they were organised, worked really hard. And you've got to get the rub of the green against City, and they got that because City missed all their chances and they put one in their own net. And credit to Wolves, it's a big win, and like you said, mate, it's good for the Premier League. I don't think many people would have put that on their coupon at the weekend. So big win for Wolves, but they've got to now kick on from that. I think they've got their bit of a derby game against Villa coming up. They've obviously got ourselves, so they'll be looking at them ones now, because they've gone from dropping points to Luton in a game they would want to win, going out of the cup when 2-0 up against Championship opposition in Ipswich, to then beating Man City. It's all a bit baffling for them, but it's a massive 3 points first and foremost, mate. The position they're probably going to be in the league, or there or thereabouts, similar to ourselves. any 3 points is golden, mate, and they certainly wouldn't be expected in that one, so credit to them.
Yeah, credit to Gary O'Neill and Wolves for that. Okay, so our official observations. I don't think there was much this weekend that happened in the Premier League that we need to worry about. So, look, thank you for watching. Oh, why are you holding your head in shame?
I hate VAR.
What happened at the Tottenham Hotspur? What happened?
They just can't do their job.
I don't get it.
It is awful. I mean, I will caveat that it's when you're a Bournemouth fan, it's quite annoying when it's so heightened when it happens to a big club. Yeah. We virtually got relegated by goal line technology. Just not working. Didn't work.
Oh, no, I mean, we did get relegated.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Fine, it just didn't work. And yeah, I mean, some of the decisions we've had to go against us. Jesus. But in this game alone, it was outrageous. I mean, they literally, it sounds like they've said that they thought, right, so it was given as offside. They thought it was given as a goal.
Yeah.
So they went, yeah, check complete, go with the original decision. And then they realised, oh shit, it was offside.
So
and they didn't bring it back.
I could see. So Mo Salah played the ball through to Luis Diaz, and you can watch back so quickly and see that
it was obviously onside.
It was obviously on. He was like half a metre onside. It's a really good goal for Liverpool. But then the on-field assistant referee flagged because he thought it was offside. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So then it goes to VAR, but because they're thinking that they allowed the goal.
Yes.
By saying the words "check complete," that's the procedure over and done with, and that's it. But they can surely pull it back because surely if they can see the referee's playing on, it's still no. Surely be like, oh, hang on.
Yeah, they panicked, didn't they? I think they panicked because everyone talks about how it slows the game down. I think in that moment they've panicked. We can't possibly bring it back now.
But I mean,
crazy.
even Spurs fans would be like, look, I mean,
this is crazy.
They would probably be like, look, I mean. They have to adhere to the It was a goal. It was a goal.
It was incredible, and I think. And just to top it off, when a decision like that goes against you, it feels like you have one of them days. They've had 2 sendings off that were questionable, and then they've scored an own goal in the last kick of the game. They literally had one of them, didn't they, Liverpool? But yeah, it was just. It's going to be spoken about a lot because it's going to be highlighted because of who it was and how bad the decision was. It's worrying. It's really worrying because you start thinking how many of them decisions have happened before that we didn't know about, and yeah, it's just really concerning that you've got so many people, and they've got an assistant in VAR. I mean, what are they doing? It is really bad. And I always remember that before VAR, everyone said we need some sort of technology because every weekend on Match of the Day and stuff, all we're doing is talking about decisions. Has that stopped? No. All it's done is ruin it for the match-going fan.
I really hope that on Monday Night Football every so often.
Yeah.
I'd love to then hear the conversations. I'd love to hear what happens afterwards as well.
Yeah.
But whether they'll release that, I'm guessing they probably won't. But when I hear those conversations back, all you can hear is just a mishmash of communication between the referee on field, the assistants, the VAR man, the assistant VAR, and there's loads of voices, and it's all this football terminology being used. Obviously, they know what it means, but surely at some point, like, hang on, what are you doing?
Yeah, it feels like a mess.
What are you doing here?
It feels like a mess, and I think, what I will say is I'll give credit, actually, because sometimes in the past he's frustrated me. I thought Jurgen Klopp was good.
I was about to say the same thing, because how could he not... I mean, if ever you're going to lose your head, lose it at that moment.
But I thought he was bang on, because he'd come out and said that, there's no point of asking me this. If I say too much, I'm going to get fired. We need to come together. Everyone needs to come together and go, this isn't right. Not just Liverpool, everyone. So, and I agree with him for sure. But equally, I've just alluded to the fact there that it gets highlighted sometimes with certain clubs. So I've got to tap into the fact that I think Brentford should have had a penalty as well at the weekend. I mean, obviously that's the big talking point. But he, I think it was Visser, nicked the ball off the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was just taking him out, and they've just gone there. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy, some of the decisions. And
what we're doing now is we're laughing. This is what happens on Match of the Day. Do you remember, there were some decisions on Match of the Day where the pundits all end up like you're just laughing.
Yeah, because what can you do?
Because it's Brentford, because it's Bournemouth, because it's Luton.
Yeah.
Because so at some point, we have to take each and every team seriously, and we're laughing because it doesn't involve us. But we've had decisions against us, and we will for the rest of the season. It's not fit for purpose.
No, it really isn't, mate. It really isn't. And as I say, as a match-going fan, it is bloody horrible as well because there's so many so many people that don't know what's going on in the state. You know more if you're watching on the telly, and that's ridiculous. It's not a TV program. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be kind of punished when you're there by not knowing as much. So it's all a bit of a mess. But maybe something like this and something as big as this, being a live game, a massive game between two big clubs, will highlight things, and maybe it'll help make things better and change things. Maybe that's all we can hope for, mate.
But if it's, Man City and say Liverpool going toe to toe for the title, and then it comes to a matter of like 1 point, 2 points, whatever, we know that everyone's going to look back at that game and be like, that was the one. So, like Liverpool's COVID season was one with an asterisk, maybe Man City's will too, based on the fact that VAR was just completely unfit and awful.
It was.
There we go. Ended on a good note. Thank you so much for watching. Look, if you're brand new to the channel, we're a Bournemouth fan channel, but every so often Premier League show, usually on a Tuesday, unless we're mega busy, loaded with content.
Yeah.
And we talk football, and we talk 5 points that we've noticed from the weekend, plus official observations too. So there's a reason to do a couple of things.
Yeah, click that big fat subscribe button. We'd really appreciate that. If you hit the like button as well, that does well for the algorithm and all that good stuff. So yeah, really appreciate it. Get out to more people. And yeah, we'll probably do our next week. I'll tell you what, some big games. I think it's Arsenal City on it as well. Some big games. So yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, if you're a Premier League fan and we haven't been there already, we do away day shows and all stuff when we come to your place as well. So yeah, loads of stuff, mate. Loads of content.
Love it. Up the cherries, up the Premier League, up the Hatters tonight, up the Clarets. Who do we want to win? Who knows? Enjoy the football. Up the chest.
Up the chest. Draw, please.